Cable Bahamas has always been considered the innovator.
People can have confidence in Cable Bahamas as a mobile operator because of our past history. We've proven to the Bahamian community that we are in fact able to manage additional services as a telecommunications company.
Customers expect the best from Cable Bahamas.
The technology that we bring is revolutionary technology because we know that the Bahamian public, they deserve it, and Cable Bahamas is here to bring it to them.
We are ready. Turn us on.
Good evening, Bahamas. You're tuned into MB12 Weekend, broadcasting from Cable 12 studios on Robinson Road. Coming up tonight in news, we've got the latest on those 14 Bamsi contracts. This as the Public Accounts Committee says government is dragging its feet on a public hearing on the Bamsi controversy. The Families of All Murder Victims organization says there's help for the hopeless. Water polo making a progressive splash in Bahamian sports. Plus, we count down the most memorable clips of the week. I'm Paige McCartney. We've got those stories and more straight ahead on MB12 Weekend. Welcome once again to MB12. 1 week after he contradicted comments by Prime Minister Perry Christie regarding the status of 14 Bamsi contracts, Minister of State for Works Arnold Forbes says he has now confirmed all of the buildings have insurance, even after Christie said he was advised that the other Bamsi contractors have all risk insurance. Forbes told the Nassau Guardian there was still no confirmation of that. Well, Forbes said he has now completed his check, but he would not comment on whether those buildings were insured before or after fire destroyed the uninsured male dorm, which has sparked a firestorm of controversy. Here's Vani Toot.
More than 2 months after fire destroyed a male dorm at the Bahamas Agriculture and Marine Science Institute, the public still has more questions than answers on the controversial project. While we now know that the building was never insured and will cost $5.5 million to rebuild, it's still unclear who was responsible for releasing public funds to Paradigm Construction without proof of insurance and who will foot the hefty reconstruction bill. Minister of State for Works Arnold Forbes was tight-lipped when asked about the ministry's review of the Bamsi contracts, only saying he can now confirm the other buildings at Bamsi are insured.
But all we know is that everything is insured down there now. I just finished my checks and found out that all were insured. I mean, this is since the Prime Minister last made a statement.
Were you able to tell whether they were insured before the fire or if some of them were insured after?
I didn't look into all that. I just want to make sure that they're insured.
Forbes also would not comment on how Paradigm Construction got the go-ahead to construct the male dorm without an insurance certificate.
Officials discovered yet who was the one who released the money to the contractor without ensuring there was proof of insurance?
Yeah, I don't know any of that. I don't know as far as that is concerned. All I wanted to ensure was everything was insured for now, and then we'll look into other things later.
So what process are you in now in terms of the male dorm and rebuilding?
Well, we're in no process with that right now. That is still in the hands of insurers and whatever else.
The Free National Movement has called for Works Minister Philip Davis's resignation. However, Tall Pines MP Leslie Miller told NB12 recently if anyone should be gone over the Bamsi insurance fiasco, it should be the project manager. Davis said in the House of Assembly that contractor Otley Hanna is liable for $2.5 million. He has reportedly offered to rebuild the male dorm for free. However, Forbes wouldn't comment on that either.
No, we've not even gotten into that yet. So that side of it, all we know is that everything is insured down there now.
Despite the controversy that has surrounded the project since the very beginning, the Minister of State for Work says he has high hopes for Bamsi.
Bamsi will be one of the best projects ever done in this country. I can say that for sure.
How are the other projects coming along at this point?
Well, everything is coming along. That's all I can say on that for now. Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to add?
Not right now. Not right now. I just want to get the job done. That's it.
However, F&M Deputy Leader Peter Turnquist says government officials' silence on Bamsi is very telling.
As the saying goes, if you have nothing to hide, then you wouldn't be concerned. I believe that there are a number of issues that this government is concerned about with respect to the conduct at Bamsi, not the least of which is the method in which these contracts were awarded. And then we start talking about the management of the project and the wastage that has happened. I believe that there is some concern from their side, but the Bahamian people deserve the truth, and we have an obligation to do our part to ensure that that truth is exposed.
Turnquest also questioned why it took over 2 months for works officials to determine the status of the Bamsi contracts, insisting it should have been as simple as checking the ministry's files.
How are they running affairs there that they would not know? There has to be some checks and balances in the system that would have mandated, would have required that those documents, those files are complete. Because not only do you rely on the person who is supposed to gather the information, but you also have somebody behind who's checking to make sure. And by the way, these files would have not only gone through the Ministry of Works and whatever their internal checks were, but they would have had to have gone to the Ministry of Finance to be approved for payment. And I would assume that they would have done some checks. And so there's some further questions that need to be asked. How did these payments get made without a complete file?
Government signed 14 contracts for the project. The opposition has called for a review of those contracts. Reporting for NB12 Weekend, I'm Vonik Toot.
More than a week after Public Accounts Committee Chairman Hubert Chipman requested public hearings on the circumstances and facts surrounding the execution and construction of the Bamsi project, Chipman says they still haven't received a response from government officials. However, the St. Anne's MP says he's not surprised.
I made the communication last week, Wednesday in the House. We haven't heard anything. I'm about to write the Prime Minister because he said, whatever we decide we wanted, that he would provide. So we're going to go after it. Bamsi is not over, and we're going to demand a public hearing. I'm not surprised I didn't, right? As usual, he drags his feet practically on everything. So I'm not surprised that we haven't heard anything.
Many questions surrounding the project have arisen after it was revealed that a male dorm destroyed by fire in January was never insured. After Chipman requested the public hearing, Prime Minister Perry Christie suggested that there were also problems at the Ministry of Works under the last Ingram administration. Well, Chipman says if that's the case, why is the Prime Minister just bringing it up after 3 years in the Progressive Liberal Party's term in office?
No, he was very, very defensive, and he started going back even prior to this his administration and stuff, and he had every opportunity as a member of the opposition at the time to investigate whatever he's now allegedly happened in the Ministry of Works.
Are you challenging him to reveal anything he may know?
Well, that's his prerogative. He have to bring forward whatever information he has. As the former minister Nico Grant said, he has nothing to hide. If he have information, let him bring it forward.
And shifting gears, despite the Attorney General's recent assertion that the Swift Justice Initiative has shown positive results, President of the Bahamas Bar Association, Ellsworth Johnson, says the court is not interested in the thrust of the F&M or PLP and is only interested in doing what's right. The Swift Justice Initiative is one of the PLP's campaign promises, and it was first introduced under the previous Christie administration. It was relaunched after the PLP defeated the governing Free National Movement in the 2012 general election. During her address at the opening of the legal year, Maynard Gibson presented statistics to support her claim that Swift Justice is reaping benefits. However, Johnson says conditions at the courts leave a lot to be desired.
We're about to go and do an inspection of the court facilities. I can tell you that there's a building with hundreds of files, molds. Court staff are refusing to go into the building. Active files. How can the courts deal with those matters if you can't access the files? Looking at the facilities that sometimes they'll have to be closed down because the bathroom fixes don't work. The Chief Justice said he's grateful, the former Chief Justice, that there was not a storm, or the main facility, the main building may not have been able to withstand all of the difficulties that the storm bring.
Johnson says at the end of the day, members of the judiciary are only concerned about fair hearings, and that can't happen without the necessary mechanisms in place.
My thrust is that the court is not interested in anything but fairness and protecting the rights of the individual. So, and is not interested in the thrust by the F&M or the PLP or their promises. Is only interested to do right by all persons who appear before them and to dispense justice.
And it's been 1 week since a young mother allegedly drove her SUV into waters near the Montague ramp, killing herself and her 2 young daughters. And founder of Families of All Murder Victims, Candy Gibson, said Bahamians don't seem to be taking the incident as seriously as they should. Gibson, who visits most murder scenes to comfort the victims' loved ones, said Bahamians need to take responsibility for those recent deaths.
Even though it happened like last week Sunday, I can't get out of my mind to see the car pull up and to see those lifeless bodies. You know what it's like to ride around your vehicle with all your clothing, everything you belong in your vehicle? You had to be in a serious state. You know, and it's like, and you know that happened Sunday, and people could get up and go to work and function like nothing happened. Something serious happened. A mother took her children out this world. Why? Because she feel like there's nobody she could have turned to even leave her kids with. Nobody she trusted could have keep her children. Come on, man. That says something to the society. Even I should say something to the Minister of Social Service. Hey, guess what? We're in a serious crisis here. The Bahamian people are hurting.
Gibson is calling on government to make urban renewal and the Department of Social Services accessible to those in need on a 24-hour basis, 7 days a week. She said the community is failing the helpless and the hopeless in the country.
So often we're in our car with our AC blowing, the glass screw up. We see a mother on the road hustling with a child. We see a broken young man. We see persons in distress, but what we do, we pass them by because our ACs and our cars are up, the glass are screwed up. Our kids go to private school, they get their lunch in their bag, and we don't care. So when I think about it, all of us played a vital role to the fact that lady going overboard, because you try and tell me there wasn't nobody she felt that she could reach out to. And then do bear in mind, the ones who she reached out to, they couldn't say, well, guess what, this lady's not in the right frame of mind. Let me call someone to see if they could take these children from her, because the way she's going right now, I'm in fear she might attack or harm her own children.
Gibson said if there is anyone out there who feels a level of hopelessness that the mother experienced last week, there's always help. She said if those in need contact FOAM, the organization will do whatever it can to lend a helping hand.
You go to social service, they give you an appointment date. When you come to FOAM, we don't give you no appointment date. From you come and say you need help. Even if it's a bag of rice and a can of tuna, you walking out there with something. You understand me? We have people now will go to urban renewal turn them down. They come to FOAM. We don't have government funding. We don't have no corporate funding, so to speak. But whatever we have, we give to the people. Even recently we started helping young people get jobs. That in our portfolio. But come on, man, people are hurting. And I say we always complain about crime, but we the cause of crime.
Ready? Set, go down. Ready, Ollie? Set, go.
A group of young Bahamians is making a splash in the world of international water sports as it transforms a little-known sport into a national team that can contend with the world's best. The Bahamas won its first ever Carifta title in swimming last year, but slightly overlooked was the fact that the Carifta water polo team had its best ever finish at the regional championships. The Bahamas finished second at the championships last year in Curacao. Coach Laszlo Borbely, affectionately called Coach Lottie, has been in charge of the Bahamas' water polo program for the past 7 years. He has watched the team come from being shut out in regional competitions to ascending to the medal stand. It has been a steady progression for the program, but as the team makes strides regionally in the sport, Coach Lottie said many Bahamians are still oblivious to how serious the sport of water polo really is.
It's basically like a soccer or basketball in the water. You play it in deep water, you have to tread and swim the entire game. You play with the ball, and the whole target of the game is to throw the ball to the opponent net. So in that sense, like soccer, but you play with your hand.
You were telling me it's very difficult because the whole while the players have to tread water.
Yes, the water is deep, more than 7 feet deep. So the entire time while you are in the water, you're not allowed to touch the goal, the wall, the lane rope. You have to either tread or swim with your head up.
Earlier this month, Coach Lottie took 2 teams, under 10 and under 12, to the 2nd annual Florida Water Polo Festival in Pompano Beach, Florida. The under 10 boys returned with the gold medal.
We went to Pampanovic, which is a very, very big international competition with Russians and Hungarians and every type of club teams. And we took there the under 16 and the under 14 team, where they performed very, very well. We played 10 games in 3 days, which is very, very difficult, right? And then a month later, which is a week ago, the under 12 and the under 10 team went back to Pompano Beach and played a competition again. And our young ones, the under 10, won gold medals. So I hope they're gonna show you those shiny medals.
The young athletes say, though they're new to the sport, it's becoming one of the greatest challenges of their young lives. They told MB12 about their love of the sport and the pride they felt representing the Bahamas internationally.
Do you like playing water polo?
Yeah, it's really tiring, but it's fun.
Yeah. Other 6-year-olds probably aren't going around winning gold medals anywhere. Do you think that you're an inspiration to other 6-year-olds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was another 6-year-old in Florida's team. I think he's good.
It was hard, but when we got used to it and we trained a little more, it got even easier. And so when we went to Pompano, it was kind of easy since I think we trained more than them.
It was very inspirational to see other kids like us playing in the bigger pool and being able to learn just like us.
Well, water polo is a great sport if you know how to swim, and just playing it's amazing. It's very fun.
I like taking the shots on the goal and winning.
Coach Lottie, who hails from Hungary, said that he sees a very bright future for the sport of water polo here in the Bahamas. He said that these young boys are definitely on the rise in the sport of water polo. Stay with us. When MB12 returns, we count down the top 5 clips of the week, and later budding Van Goghs are awarded following the annual Nassau Guardian Easter Coloring Contest. We'll tell you about those and other stories when we come right back.